keeper of knowledge accidentally advocating a fitting future over 5 minutes for a friendship. Words are very important to us. We'll ask that everyone listen very carefully, because that's how we've chosen them. If recent history indicates anything, we might expect others to play with words, sometimes placing them in others' mouths. Say what you see to save what can be seen. Some material considerations in words from others' mouths. Mute swan, Canada goose, Egyptian goose, shell duck, gadwall, teal, mallard, shoveler, red-crested pochard, tufted duck, pheasant, cormorant, grey heron, little grebe, great crested grebe, black-necked grebe, sparrowhawk, kestrel, moorhen. The water by Hampton Court was believed to possess medicinal properties, as efficacious in the gravel for kidney stones, excellent for drinking and washing. At Kingston-on-Thames and Surbiton, New Kingston, a populous and increasing place, the want of water is much felt. About half a mile from the bowling green to the west end of town is a spring that is cold in summer and warm in winter. It bubbles up and is called Seething Well. The inhabitants thereabouts do use to wash their eyes with it and drink of it. Monster soup, commonly called Thames water, being a correct representation of that precious stuff doled out to us, brought forth all monstrous, all prodigious things, hydras and organs and chimeras dire. The water taken from the River Thames at Chelsea for the use of the inhabitants of the western part of the metropolis, being charged with the contents of the great common sewers, the drainings from dunghills and laystalls, the refuse of hospitals, slaughterhouses, colour, lead and soapworks, drug mills and manufactories, and with all sorts of decomposed animal and vegetable substances, rendering the said water offensive and destructive to health, ought not yet to be taken up by any of the water companies from so foul a source. A portion of the inhabitants of the metropolis are made to consume in some form or another a portion of their own excrement, and, moreover, to pay for the privilege. It has become little short of compulsory upon all classes to provide themselves with abundant supplies of pure, wholesome water. Coot, lapwing, dunlin, snipe, common sandpiper, green sandpiper, black-headed gull, Mediterranean gull, common gull, lesser black-backed gull, herring gull, great black-backed gull, common tern, stock dove, wood pigeon, collared dove. I feel confident that no other site or source can be found which combines so many advantages, and from which so pure, constant, and abundant a supply can be obtained with so small an expenditure. The water at Ditton, being usually very clear, would be passed at once from the river by conduit pipes onto filters, from them to the wells of the pumping engines, and then through aqueduct or main pipe to reservoirs. The filtering apparatus will be erected on such a principle that the water must of necessity pass at all times through the filtering medium before it can reach the pump well of the steam engines. A peculiar power possessed by porous media of removing matter from solution in water. Undulating layers of fine sand, coarse sand, shells from Harwich, fine gravel, coarse gravel. The Schmitzdecker or filter skin contains microorganisms and bacteria that break down and digest organic matter in the water and consume dead algae and living bacteria. There should be a presumption in favour of physical preservation of nationally important remains. Industrial archaeology is being lost during the development of post-industrial society. Because many of these sites lie on valuable and desirable riverside sites, they are in danger of being totally eliminated from the built environment. This site is therefore particularly sensitive. Ring-necked parakeet, swift, kingfisher, green woodpecker, great spotted woodpecker, magpie, jay, jackdaw, carrion crow, goldcrest, blue tit, great tit, sand martin, swallow, house martin, long-tailed tit, chiff-chaff. The banks of the river at Seething Wells on a fine day are worth a visit for the busy and animated scene there presented. It is impossible for anyone unacquainted with the plans of the undertaking to form any judgment of what will be the eventual condition which the spot is to assume. But at the pace now maintained, order and effect will soon emerge from the present temporary chaos and confusion. Above 800 men are now engaged, and over £1,000 was disbursed last week for wages alone. It is a matter for great satisfaction that in the congregation of such a number of individuals engaged at the work, such a small cause for complaint has been given on the score of irregularity or disturbance. Indeed, their conduct has hitherto generally been exemplary. The cholera was 14 times more fatal amongst the persons having the impure water of the Southwark and Vauxhall Company, as amongst those having the purer water from Thames Devon. 75 species of bird and 11 species of bat visit, roost, breed, hibernate or forage. Blackcap, whitethroat, reed warbler, wren, starling, blackbird, song thrush, redwing, mistle thrush, robin, wheatear, dunnock, house sparrow, tree sparrow, grey whitetail, pie whitetail, meadow pipit, chaffinch, greenfinch, goldfinch, reed bunting, black swan, a glorified duck pond, 64 floating homes, a 90-berth marina, 110 diner restaurant, and 184 parking spaces. Both parties had a relaxed approach to honest dealings when it suited them. KR clearly is an exceptionally aggressive businessman who made his fortune operating petrol stations in the East End and is prepared to use any bullying tactic possible to secure what he wants. His performance as witness was masterly. However, in my view, it bore no relation to the way in which he performs outside the court, a carefully constructed charade which in no way reflects his true persona. Local support or opposition for a proposal is not in itself a ground for refusing or granting planning permission, and such support does not justify the harm that I have identified above. It is both patronising and contrary to the whole spirit of the importance now attached to local views for the appellant to try and argue that the claimed benefits for the local community override the clear harm, in circumstances where the local community have reached a clear view to the contrary by a significant majority. Praise some, although they knew not what they did. Do not forgive others, for they know exactly what they do. Wild scabious, trefoils and clovers, small scabious, reflex stonecrop, dropwort, rest harrow, ferngrass, broomrape, Spanish broom, lady's bedstraw, bird, buttercup, black medic, mouse-eared hawkweed, pipistrelle, noctule, dorbenton, bramble isoceratin, brown long-eared, natera, blue suns and grey lagoons. Thank you.